Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I am going to be telling you the 3 best mediums to get your hands on in the latest game state. And let's get right into it. Starting off, we have the STB-1 in the number 3 position. The STB-1 is a fantastic tank, featuring solid gun depression at 11 degrees, making it the most you'll find in tier 10. Also featuring great penetration, 313 mils of AP premium. The vehicle has solid mobility with a top speed of 56 kilometers per hour, and overall really troll armor that, even from the sides, is not pennable with high explosive. In general, the STB is the jack of all trades when it comes to the medium category. It does have some downsides, though. Its DPM is not very good, only sitting at around 2,900 if you're running calibrated shells. And when you pair that with the fact that the vehicle also doesn't have too much accuracy, then, yeah, the gun is really not the major selling point. I mean, the pen is great, and you barely lose any damage when loading gold. But the gun itself is not very good, and it's probably one of the worst guns you'll find on a medium tank. But thankfully, the mobility, the gun depression, and the armor make up for the rest of the characteristics this vehicle does feature. And we can kind of see a good example there of the gun missing, not an easy shot, but definitely one that I would consider a little bit sussler. So Sheridan shoots and misses. We got the Caro right off to the side. And there you go. Nice shell into the enemy Caro, and oof. That's got to hurt you quite a bit. Caro is already out of the game. That's why you don't cross there. I don't know why people still try to cross to that position. Okay, let's see if we can spot anything over here. We indeed do a 60 TP. However, we are not able to do anything to that 60, at least as of yet, just because of the positioning that he's in. But we can see the enemy team is already in certain spots. We're just going to move up over here and... miss the Sheridan. Once again, we can see the not so good accuracy of this vehicle. And it's mid. Like, you will miss a lot of easy shots in the STB. But again, that 11 degrees allows you to work these ridge lines really well. And for example, this 60 really doesn't know what to do to me here. We're just bleeding him out as much as we can. We do have the Badger on my side, which is something I am a little worried about, but at the same time, not something I'm super duper scared of. There you go. The 183 absolutely nukes that player, and the Sheridan gets the clear. Okay, pretty good stuff so far. We have the Quran running off to the side. Nice 413 damaging shell. It's a pretty good max roll as well. The STB does have decent damage per shot at 330, even though the DPM is a bit lower than you'd ideally want. Because the vehicle's reload is pretty quick due to the alpha damage, you still quite quickly get out the shells. And we can see that here. I'm up to 2,400 already. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't even know how we managed to bounce that. 4005 shooting at me. And he's surprisingly hitting all those shots as well. I'm just going to move up to a position where the 4005 really can't hit me. Caro is making his way behind. We're going to get a nice shell ourselves. And all that's left is the enemy 4005. We are already up to 3,000 damage at this point, which is pretty good. 4005 is obviously going to run away and does put on shell reload boost, but I don't really care too much. Bounces me with one shot, and he's dead. So a pretty good game. 3,400 damage, and a good example of where the STB, even with its kind of lower DPM, still does a good job. In general, the major strengths of this tank are the turret armor, and the fact that it has 11 degrees of gun depression. The gun is not bad, though. You know, a lot of people think that after the STB was nerfed, the gun is terrible. And it's not. I mean, it's not great. You saw a couple easy shots miss, but at the end of the day, the level of armor you feature and the mobility is still really good. So while you do have some downsides, I definitely think that most of the upsides are still so incredibly good that they make this a fantastic medium. Next up, we have the E50M. And this tank is insanely dangerous for a couple reasons. First of all, it has reactive armor, which allows your tank to basically be almost unstoppable in current situations. Now, if you're going to run reactive on this tank, it might also be beneficial to put on a protective kit, which gives you 15% protection to crew injuries, makes your ammo rack more durable, makes your tank in general a much more durable vehicle. And the reason why you want to do this is because if you're running one repair kit, it's very common to get your tank tracked. It's very common to get your vehicle's modules damaged. And You obviously don't want that to happen in most games you play. So running Protective Kit and giving you that extra durability, giving you that little bit of faster track repair speed, a 10% buff, all of these things will make your tank survive just that little bit longer, and also make it so you don't have to use that one repair kit when you could have saved it or something like that. So always something to keep in mind. But the E50M is a crazy good tank for multiple reasons. First of all, it is very mobile, reaching a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour for a tank that weighs over 60 tons. This thing is a heavy beast, and it's very fast. Not only that, the tank has great DPM at around 3,500 if you're running gun ram, or 3,300 if you're running calibrated shells. It has great penetration, solid accuracy, and not only that, the tank has crazy good armor on the turret, on the hull. It's a wildly good vehicle. It does have some downsides. It's obviously very large, which makes you a big opponent for a lot of people to see. But being large, at least in terms of a medium, isn't too big of a deal for this one due to the armor and especially mobility you feature. I mean, look at how fast we're going already. 55, 60 kilometers per hour downhill here. This tank is crazy. So we are going to head all the way off wide. The enemy team has a Murat and an E50, so I'm not too scared. And we're just going to put ourselves right on this rock here. And this is a very good early game position to hide my lower plate. And because we're tall, we can see right over as well as we can see. So this is a perfect position for me to just wait. And we'll have to see where the enemy team ends up going. Now, as of now, nothing's spotted yet, which is a bit interesting. Our standard B is moving up, and I'm obviously going to help out the standard B if I can. Now, they do have a 183, they do have a YAG. They got a bunch of tank destroyers, which is something that ideally I have to be a little bit cautious about. We have the Emil 2, and just going to load a gold shell right into the Emil's turret. There you go, nice 299 shot. And let's see if we can get another shell into the Emil turret. There you go, 356. You can see the gun on this tank is actually quite nice and does not struggle too much to get out damage. We have the 183 all the way in the back, and that's that good accuracy there, allowing me to hit that tank even from this level of distance. So already we're up to about 1,000 damage, which is pretty good. Now, the Emil is a threat mainly because it's spotting me if I poke, and that 183 being in the back combined with that Emil is not a great combination, obviously. Ah, great, of course. Of course. Well, unfortunately, the Jagdpanzer is able to shoot me, and not only that, but see me from that position he was in, which is not very good for me. We have the E50 aiming in on me, but even if that player does shoot me, he's not going to deal much damage, and we are ripping out our damage into that E50. So already that player's down to 685 health, and even with a Jag shooting me, we're still pretty healthy. So we're just going to wait here, and we're going to see what happens. There's the 183 in the back. There's the enemy Jagdpanzer. And I'm going to move up and aim it on that 183 maybe. Well, I guess we can shoot the Jag. That's a pretty easy shot. Standard B gets a shell into him. And let's see if we can get one more shell into the Jag. Well, not able to there. But we do hatch him, which is obviously pretty good. E50 kills himself on the enemy as well. So that's something, I guess. I mean, our T-22's still alive, and he's shooting the Murat, which is helpful. But I'm kind of stuck here. Thankfully, the T-22 gets the clear, and while the E-100 is pretty healthy, I think that we're okay currently. I just don't like this situation that I'm in. E-100 gets the clear. I would love support from my teammate. I'm just going to wait the 7 seconds for my reactive to come back, and that will obviously shrug off a lot of the damage that I receive. There's the YAG. Okay. Well, with that being the case, now I'm able to move up myself. And that's obviously rather beneficial. And the YAG not only misses, but gives me now that precious time I needed to move up. So we'll see if I can get out some damage here. We know that the 183 was in the back over here. Is the 183 still in the back? There's really no way of telling. So that's something to keep in mind. There you go. Easy shell into the Jagdpanzer superstructure once. And we reload again. Aiming, aiming. There you go. Another easy shell into the YAG. And obviously, at this point, that YAG is not enjoying our company all too much. I'm going to put on my reactive. Of course. I knew it. And we're dead. Well, I guess reactive didn't really save me there. Because, as always, the 183 flanks and manages to somehow get behind me. Yeah, we love 183s. We really do. This could have been a fantastic game due to the fact that that E100 was probably a very easy farm. But unfortunately, a flanking 183 apparently outplayed me, and as I said, there was really no way of knowing that 183 was going to roll behind me. It's just not something that I would have thought of, and not only that, but our shell low-rolled the Jagdpanzer, and he managed to hatch me. We can see the shell on my hatch. So, if you want to know called bad luck, that's bad luck there. But, as we know, I never get good luck in Blitz, so oh well. At the end of the day, the E50M did a really solid job in this battle, and it wasn't really the E50's fault that we ended up losing. It was more the fact that the Ag hit an incredibly lucky shell that he really shouldn't have, and the 183 managed to flank behind me, which I couldn't even have predicted if I wanted to. But we ended up dealing 3,600 damage, which was a very solid result. Honestly, if my T-22 medium had decided to help me instead of going to the heavy flank at the beginning of the game, this probably would have been a very easy win, but just missing one of those mediums you so desperately need can obviously change the outcome quite a bit. The E50 is great, though, and you definitely saw a glimpse of why in that battle. The reactive armor is super nice when you can use it. That Jagdpanzer only rolled me for like 500, which is crazy when you think of it, because that tank has 800 damage per shot. And it really just allows this tank to feel insane. And when you add that with a great gun, the mobility, and the DPM and everything else, the E50M really just is a fantastic tier 10 medium. And that brings us to the final medium, which is the M48 Paton. The M48 Paton, once again, features reactive armor. And I can honestly say that in that battle we just played, the M48 Paton probably would have lived, because the M48 Paton is a much better turret than the E50M, and that's why this is in the #1 slot. The M48 Paton got a couple major buffs in the latest update. First of all, it now has gear oil, allowing it to reverse at a whopping 26 kilometers per hour from the base 20. Not only that, the vehicle can also now achieve a top speed of 54. When you pair that with the very solid DPM, great gun depression, and turret armor that you literally cannot pen, it's just an insane tank. Oh yeah, and reactive, don't forget that. I mean, it really has the whole shebang going for it. So we're going to see what we can do in our M48 Paton here. We'll see if it's good or if it's bad. But we are going to start off by going over to the medium flank. I am at a massive medium disadvantage. They have a Sheridan, they have a Caro, and a Leopard, and I get a T92E1. So already Wargaming is saying you're not allowed to have nearly as much fun in this battle, but I guess we'll see what actually happens here. With reactive, at least if I... Oh, well, there's the Sheridan. Unfortunately, light tanks are much faster than mediums, meaning that I'm not able to work that spot at all, so I guess we're going to have to go over here. But our 92 actually gets a shell into that Sheridan. I just realized our 92 we want to stock, which is unfortunate, I guess. Don't know exactly how I feel about that. We get one shell into you, and oh nice, Caro gets bonked. I hope that was worth it for you. Not really sure why that Caro made that play, but this is why Dead Rail is a very tricky map, because you can't drive over the ridge and just think you'll get away with it. I'm actually grateful that my tank destroyer... Oh, yep, I knew it. Can't spot the light tank through the bush, but he spots me right through the bush. Another classic example of light tanks, but we got some more assistance damage. That Sheridan gets shot. So we're doing our job right now. We're getting the enemy bled, and we aren't bleeding anything ourselves. That's really what you want. Our T92 gets the shell, and yep, there you go. Goodbye, Caro. Okay, well, we see the enemy Leopard running, and we're going to get a shell into that, or not Leopard, Sheridan running. I don't know why I said, oh, no, we do see the Leopard. Both the Leopard and the Sheridan. I guess my brain went into autopilot there. Alright, let's see what the Sheridan does, because I don't really care what you do. You're dead, bruh. You are 100% dead. Let's head wide, and this is where that mobility buff on this tank actually feels great now. Look at that. We're chilling at 54, 55 kilometers per hour. That's like unheard of for the Paton. And with that speed, we're able to easily catch the Sheridan, get the clear into him. We haven't done much damage. We're only at about 800, but it's not really anything of my own fault. It's just the enemy mediums got nuked before we had the opportunity to really do anything to them. And when you pair that with everything else that's been going on in this game, it kind of makes sense. We get the clear into the T92, and now we're going to try and make our way behind these enemy heavies. Let's see, there's the BZ, aiming, and bonk, there you go, 320. Reload again. I'm just going to shoot the 75 at this point. He's got more health. There's another shell. This is where the great DPM and adrenaline obviously allows you to rip out damage into the enemy. And yeah, we are definitely ripping out damage here. And there you go, easy clear. 183, as always, is shooting at me. but I don't really care, because your game's over, bro. Your game is fully over. Let's see if we can get one more shell out into the 183, and fire. There you go. Nice. We've done a lot of assistance this game, 1,600, and not only that, but we did just about 3,000 damage. Honestly, the Paton is just an amazing tank because it does everything, right? It's got gun depression. 9 degrees over the front, 8 degrees over the sides. Don't talk about the rear, though. Very poor gun depression over the rear. But the front has incredible gun depression. And the turret armor is nearly impossible to cut through. It's about 350 mils thick if you're running enhanced armor. The hatch is a weak spot, but when you're using gun depression, it's not very visible. And overall, with the mobility buffs, this tank just feels so good now. So I can tell you for a fact that this, in my opinion, is the best of the mediums in the game currently. I would highly recommend to go for the M48 Paton. But I'd also say the E50M is a great tank, and same for the STB1. They are all great tanks. It really just depends what playstyle you are looking for. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!